Excellent. Welcome to our webinar today, From Worst to Best Month Ever. This is Steve Anderson, and we're excited to present to you really a great topic that I have been eager to do actually for many, many years. Let me kind of give you the background of what you can expect today for what we'll do for the next few minutes. So it is no secret that every business and every industry has its typical ups and downs, kind of like a roller coaster. There are good times, there are times that are harder, there are rhythms of a business. For example, if you're in a retail business, everybody knows that the Christmas season from November to December can be one of your highest sales seasons of the year. That's just a typical rhythm of that industry. Every industry has its rhythms. So again, you know, for some businesses, the holidays are high time. For others, summertime might be more of a struggle because of vacations and all kinds of things. So every business has a rhythm, including dentistry. Dentistry has a typical rhythm. And for many, not all, but for many have found that when we get into back to school season, when school gets back into session, we have this big rush to get all the dentistry done before the kids go back to school. And then as soon as school is back into session, things can be a little bit more challenging. Not 100% of the time, but if you go back and look at the trends, many times, late August and September can be more of a challenging times for general dentistry production. So what is the trend in your office? Because you have a choice of how you handle trends. You can either accept them as they are and just go with it, or you can choose to go a different direction and say, despite the trends, we're going to do some things to counteract the trends to have a best month when other people may choose or just by default have a worst month. Let me tell you a quick story about where I first learned this lesson. Years ago, our Crown Counsel co-founder and my late business partner, Walter Haley, who originally was in the insurance business, noted that December in the insurance business was typically a slow month because of the mentality that it was the holidays and everyone is out doing their Christmas shopping and doing other things, and no one wants to talk about insurance. And that was generally the attitude in the insurance industry. And so early on, he made the commitment and the decision that he was going to choose differently and go a different direction, and took the attitude that because everyone else, all of his other competitors, had kind of quit for the month of December, he was going to redouble his efforts and do more in December because all of his prospects were freed up to talk to him because there was no competition. And so it was an interesting attitude to take about taking what was the worst month, and he made it a tradition to make December the best month ever when everyone else was having the worst. Our challenge to you today is to make the worst your best. If that is the end of August into September in your practice traditionally, then make the commitment today that you're going to make some decisions and do some things differently to get a different result. You're all familiar with the old saying that we've used for many years, that if you keep on doing what you've been doing, you'll keep on getting what you've been getting. So if you just go with the typical rhythm, you'll typically get those same results. So change the input to change the output. Make your typical worst month, your best month. So that's the challenge of today's topic, and the challenge that we give you to take back to the team is look at the typical patterns of your practice and how can you make the worst month traditionally the best month. We're going to focus on the month of September today during this webinar. You could do this with any month of the year, but we're going to suggest that you get focused on the month of September. We're at the beginning of August, so you've got some run time here to get started, to prepare, to make September the best month ever. Idea number one, project number one, is as you look at those trends and identify, if you look and see what the trends are for your month of September, is to sit down with your team and go through what we call an idea factory exercise. So here's how the idea factory works. Is you present the issue, this issue being that taking what is traditionally a slow month and turning it into a best month ever. And what an idea factory does, what a factory does, is it produces a product. And it just produces that product over and over again. So the idea factory exercise is to sit down and set a goal that you are going to come up with 21 ideas to make your worst month your best month. Now, the reason I say 21 is because people will have good ideas. Generally, you can come up with a good 10 or 12 ideas, and 21 ideas then challenges you to stretch your imagination and go beyond your typical limits to find good ideas. The math here is that quantity produces quality. Rarely is there just one good idea that will solve all your problems. Typically, it is a combination of ideas. So have an idea factory, and one of the rules is that there's no evaluation of the ideas until you've reached 21, or whatever number you choose, but I challenge you to do at least 21 ideas. So you produce all the ideas, you write them down, you don't evaluate them until you've got all the ideas on the board, and then you can go through and vet them and decide which ideas are the best, which ones you want to develop more and to implement. So action item number 1, to make your worst the best, is have an idea factory with your team. Now I'm going to give you some things you might consider as you have that session with your team, and I would suggest that you can really do this for anything. You can do it with any idea, problem, or challenge you're having in the practice. Put it up on the board, announce the idea factory, come up with 21 ideas with no evaluation, no judgment, until you've come up with at least 21 ways. So I'm going to give you some ideas of things that might be some of those 21 that you could consider. First off is typically most practices will send out their end of year benefits or their benefits remaining letter or letters to their patients typically in October. So if you send it out in October, and then your patients will get that letter, mid to late October, and then they've got 2 months, which is really typically during some of the busiest times of the year, to try and get their dental work done. So consider this year sending out your benefits remaining letters in August, not in October. Consider sending it now, so that they can start scheduling their treatment not in November and December, but they can start scheduling their treatment in end of August and end of September. So get a head start, whether you send letters or an email or however you generate your end of year benefits letters, benefits remaining. Get started early. Do it now so that people have the time to get it scheduled. If they have more time, then you'll have more flexibility to schedule, which means you'll be able to schedule more, and you'll have more time to follow up with those patients. Next, make a special offer to your patients without insurance. So we've talked about your benefits remaining letter. Let's talk about the patients who have no insurance that would not be receiving that letter. So consider doing some type of a promotion, some type of special treatment for your patients without insurance in September, that they can receive some type of a special courtesy or bonus. You can decide during the month of September when they schedule their treatment or when they come in the month of September. So you can do some creative writing here to explain the situation. You might do just a heartfelt message to them that says, we have a special month during the month of September for our patients without insurance. To make it easier for you to get needed dental work done, here's how it works. And you give them the whatever it is that you design that fits your practice as the special promotion, and then a call to action to call your office and schedule their treatment and their appointment for the month of September, and to schedule that appointment now. Next, if you'll, a recommendation, if I know that most make a regular habit of listening to our Crown Council Mentor of the Month program, and one of my favorites that we have done recently is the 21 Things That Have Made Me a Better Dentist interview with Dr. Woody Oakes, the founder of The Profitable Dentist. In that interview, he outlines 21 of the best ideas that he has come across in the last 30 years for a successful dental practice. One of those ideas is to have a crown day. And during a crown day, all you schedule that day is crowns. That's it. And you promote that day that anyone, you get into your patient base and look at anyone who has unscheduled treatment that involves getting a crown done. And again, you send a special message to them that says, in the month of September, on this day, we're having a special day in our office for our patients who have needed work that needs to be done. And here's how it's set up. And if you call here, here's exactly the consideration for that. So again, I'm not going to dictate pricing or what you should do. You need to figure out the offer that fits your practice. But if you'll listen to Woody's explanation of that idea, and if you're looking for where to access that, go to crowncouncil.org and go under training, and then go to Mentor of the Month, and you can search for Dr. Woody Oakes, and he'll explain that entire program. But here's the result of that, is that focus, and this is what I call the law of focus. Whatever you focus on expands. So in this case, if you have a special day, a crown day, and then go through the whole patient base and look for patients who have unscheduled treatment that involves a crown, that singular focus will end up producing an amazing amount of work. In the case study that Woody shares, the particular practice that he talks about did $40,000 in one day of just crowns. And that's all they did during that day. So when the schedule, whether it's September or any other month, when the schedule is lighter, it gives you the ability and a window here to do some things that you otherwise may not be able to do. So consider a crown day. Now you could follow that same idea with Invisalign, or really any other procedure, is to have an Invisalign day. Pretty much everybody is aware of that, and you can reach out to your Invisalign rep, and they have all of the materials that you need to promote and do a special day where you invite patients to come in and have an Invisalign consult and have a special offer during that day if they start their Invisalign treatment. So again, you can identify some special programs, special promotions that you can do during the month of September. Next is start calling. So whatever your promotion is, whether it's the Crown Day, whether it's the benefits remaining letter, whether it's the special offer to your patients without insurance, the statistics are that you can increase your results by 6 times if you call behind the message that you send out. So you can 6 times the results. So sending the information out is great. You can get a 6 times better result if you start making the follow-up calls behind it. Now, let me just make, I inserted Weave Communications in here. They're a resource partner of the Crown Council. Most are familiar with their system. We're partial to it because they've been a resource partner for many years. Their phone system actually integrates with your software and makes it a lot easier to make these kinds of calls. But whatever your system is, make the calls and start calling. Another option, depending on how you communicate with your patients, whether it's by mail, text, email, the folks at Solution Reach have some amazing resources there as well. If you're still debating about your electronic communication, I encourage you to reach out to them as well. Here's the next piece in your calling efforts. This is what we call a double the effort campaign. So let's start in hygiene. Every hygienist or hygiene coordinator doubles their efforts in the month of August and into September to make twice as many continuing care calls. So if you normally are making 5 to 10 calls a day, then you're going to double the effort to make 10 to 20 calls a day. So you set a specific daily call goal. Activity usually ends up in accomplishment. So the more activity in which you engage, the better your accomplishment. So if you leave the follow-up calls to when you get around to it, then you fool yourself into thinking you're actually engaging the activity. You got to set a specific goal and then track your progress so that you know exactly what you're doing. Activity leads to accomplishment if you engage in the right activity. So double your efforts in hygiene. Now, I'd suggest that you do the same thing with treatment coordinators and assistants to do continue to do the unscheduled treatment and follow up on cancellations and no-shows. Now, here's my preferred way of doing this. Again, as I said, activity leads to accomplishment, especially when you measure exactly what you're doing. So this is one of my favorite things because it's truth serum. This is what we call an outbound call tracker. It's really simple. And what you do is everyone that's making follow-up calls, whether it's on unscheduled treatment, whether it's on benefits remaining letters, whatever it is, you keep track of your activity. So in the left-hand column, you'd write the date, and then you would, in the outbound column, you're going to just write the name of the patient, and then the C text or EM is whether it's a call, phone call, a text, or an email, whatever you send out. So if you're doing a specific to a specific person, not a blast email, but to a specific person. So then what the result was, the result is either you left a message, you made a contact, C is for contact, so you left a message, you got you made the actual contact, and then SA is for scheduled appointment. So what was the result of your call? Either you left a message, you contacted them, you had some kind of contact, or you scheduled the appointment and then some notes. So here's the idea here is if you typically make 5 to 10 and you're going to double your efforts to do 10 to 20, you're going to track your activity. And here's what I found. I started using this many, many years ago. And what I found is that I would make the first couple of calls and I would be amazed that it felt like I had engaged in more activity than I had. It's easy to make 2 or 3 calls and think that you're doing a lot of activity. When you look down at how many patients you've actually called or contacted, it's a wake-up call. So if you set the goal and track your activity, you are more likely to reach your activity goal than if you just make those calls. So let's take a chapter out of an annual event a couple of years ago from our mentors at the Franklin Covey Institute. They came and did a presentation on the 4 disciplines of execution. If you have not listened to that presentation, I highly recommend it. Again, it's at crowncouncil.org, and you can find it under training, and it's also under Mentor of the Month. If you look for 4 disciplines of execution. If you set a goal, whatever your goal is for the month of September for your production goal, then in that language, one of your lead measures, when lead measure is activity in which you engage, one of your lead measures might be make 20 calls a day. Each hygienist makes, or each hygiene coordinator, each business assistant, you decide your lead measure would be you're going to make X number of follow-up calls every day on unscheduled treatment, on benefits remaining letters, on whatever it might be. That might be a lead measure. So just a recommendation there. Track your activity. Activity leads to accomplishment. If you don't track the activity, we have proven that you will engage in less activity if you don't track it. Next idea is to redouble your conversion exam efforts. Now, conversion exam is a term that comes out of our total patient service, total immersion training. Many, if not most of you, have been through that. It is core to our culture in the Crown Council. So in total immersion, we talk about a conversion exam, which is taking your existing patients and putting them through the equivalent of a new patient experience. You're not going to tell them that, but you have a certain protocol you follow to kind of start over with them and re-engage. We recommend that you typically do 2 conversion exams a day per hygienist. If you're trying to ramp up production, then take it up to 3. So 3 per hygienist per day. And what you'll find is you'll then schedule more treatment. Again, activity leads to accomplishment if you're engaging in the right kind of activity with the right kind of verbal skills. So conversion exams from 2 to 3. Do 3 instead of 2. More activity typically results in more production. Next, rededicate your efforts to your mom. Now, that is not your mother. That is what we call your morning opportunity meeting. Again, most of you are familiar with this if you've been through total immersion. This is a strategic meeting at the beginning of the day. It is not a morning huddle. It is a morning opportunity meeting, and its focus is to look for opportunities today for same-day treatment and to build some momentum for tomorrow. The morning opportunity meeting, like most other things in the practice, can be subject to entropy. You're all familiar with entropy. Entropy is the second law of thermodynamics, which says that things gravitate to their lowest, most disorganized state. They come unraveled and disorganized. So go back and re-look at your morning opportunity meeting. Tighten it up. And the key to having an effective morning opportunity meeting is chart prep. Are you doing the right kind of thorough chart prep on your hygiene patients as well as your restorative patients to identify same-day treatment possibilities? Short of the chart prep, absent the chart prep, then the morning opportunity meeting becomes much less effective. So as you do that chart prep and you look through your hygiene patients and restorative patients, we're looking for unscheduled treatment that, based on our schedule today, we could include more treatment if the patient accepts and we bring it to their attention because our schedule permits that. So relook at your morning opportunity meeting. How disciplined are you? How effective is it? And take things to another level to make that meeting much more effective. There is a direct correlation between a well-run, well-organized morning opportunity meeting and same-day treatment on a regular basis. The best practices that we work with at the Total Patient Service Institute and the best Crown Council offices, this is a non-negotiable habit. They're in the habit of having a very effective morning opportunity meeting. Redouble your efforts in that area. Next, consider having Christmas in September, a white Christmas. So you might consider promoting that anyone who schedules treatment during the month of September gets a complimentary teeth whitening that they can either have for themselves or that they can give away to a friend or family member. So again, it's just one more thing to give your patients something to talk about, something special to do to raise the awareness and incentivize getting things done in the month of September. Christmas in September. Next recommendation is that the perception is that the biggest obstacle to getting treatment done is money. So this would be a good time to improve your financial arrangement skills. So if I could recommend a review of the Crown Council webinar, 50 Ways to Pay. You can go to crowncouncil.org, go to the training tab, and then click on webinars, and you can search for 50 Ways to Pay, in which Tanya Bailey, a practice advisor here at the Total Patient Service Institute, goes through 50 different ways that patients can pay for treatment. It will take your financial arrangements to a whole new level when you have those kind of resources at your disposal to help patients find a way to pay for treatment. If they want it and you've done a good job of helping them accept treatment, then it just comes down to how do you pay for it. And there are far more resources than most realize that can help you in that area. So that's a recommendation. Review 50 Ways to Pay at crowncouncil.org. September, obviously back to school, and there are a lot of creative things that you can do with the school teachers in your life. So here's a couple of ideas here. One, it's a great time to schedule, if you're in the habit of doing a program in your local schools about dentistry. September is a good time to get started scheduling that, so make sure you get it on the calendar. We've got several practices that we work with that do a special promotion for teachers during the month of September, especially new teachers that may have started in the schools near them. So they'll put a special gift package together for any new teachers that have come on board at the local schools, or you might do all the teachers themselves and have a special package and special services that you do just for the teachers in your area. Specific to September, let me draw out just a couple of additional ideas. September 9th is National Stand Up to Cancer Day. Annually, it is on the second Friday in September every year. So it's a great opportunity to promote and raise the awareness among your patients as well as your community about oral cancer, since that's where we deal. So you might consider doing a special oral cancer screening promotion during the entire month of September, not just on September 9th, but on the entire month. So we reached out to our Crown Council resource partners, Oral ID, for some ideas in this area. So let me just share those with you briefly about some things that they suggest of putting some things on your website that have to do to Stand Up to Cancer Month and promoting oral cancer screenings during the month of September. So you might consider during the month of September that anybody can come in and get a free oral cancer screening with their routine exam or with their initial exam if they're a new patient. Promote that in the month of September to raise the awareness and hopefully draw in some additional patients. There's different ideas that you can do. Here in this example, they're offering oral cancer screening for only $15. You might offer it for free. You could have this on your website. You could also promote it with your patients that they send friends and family members in. So again, this is a way to promote Stand Up to Cancer Month in the month of September in the entire community. A lot of resources that you can use for things you do outside the office, inside the office, as well as social media to get it out in your social media and promote oral cancer exams in the month of September. So there's some great resources here. Here's just another idea for social media that you can do for your patients during the month of September. So great resources here from Oral ID, and if you would like to take advantage of those resources, here's Forward Science is the company behind Oral ID, and so they have put together some amazing resources for oral cancer marketing. September, Stand Up to Cancer Day on September 9th. There are the resources there where you can take advantage of all of their oral cancer marketing ideas, and they've been very generous to provide Crown Council members some special consideration there as we ramp up for September. So there's all of the contact information right there for your information. Additionally, in the month of September is National Working Parents Day. Now, one of my favorite things, Dr. Kent Smith and Dr. Jeff Roy in Irving, Texas, one of the things I love about their practice is they have a blast with the different days that there are of the year. You can take just about any day of the year, and it's a national something day. And so September 16th is National Working Parents Day. And so the idea here would be to take that day, have some fun with it. You might do a special promotion for the parents in your practice, including maybe have special hours where you do extended hours, early hours, and evening hours during the month of September or on special days in September to make it easier for working parents. You might have some resources available in your office where they can come in, and you'll have childcare available for children ages 4 and up, where they can come in. You'll have somebody in your reception area that's having games and coloring and different things for the kids, so they can come in and have their dental work done. So have some fun. This is just, again, one more September idea that you can leverage and have some fun with to increase your production and your schedule in the month of September. Let's talk about Smiles for Life during the month of September. Now, you know that the campaign runs from March through really the end of May, when we extend it into September. And so what we know is that the most successful practices that engage in the Smiles for Life campaign, where they're offering whitening to their patients and the fee goes to the Smiles for Life Foundation, and it's one of the most effective new patient generators because it's on, it's involved in a cause. So here's a couple of Smiles for Life to-dos during the month of September. Schedule the delivery of your Smiles for Life check to your local charity during the last couple of weeks of September. So go ahead and get that scheduled now and see if possible if you can do that during an event. So as you know, with Smiles for Life, if you participate in Smiles for Life, you can choose a local charity to receive up to 50% of the money that you raise in your office. And many of you have done that. September is a great time to deliver that check. So let me give you a few timelines as it has to do with Smiles for Life. August 1st, which was Monday, was the deadline for all Smiles for Life contributions to be into the Crown Council. So hopefully that you've done that. It's on the way. That's the cutoff date for the 2016 campaign. Any monies received after August 1st will be then noted for the 2017 campaign. Final numbers and contributions will be calculated by the end of this week. So we're in the process of doing that right now at the Crown Council office, and you will receive a letter confirming your total contributions for the campaign and the amount that will go to your local charity. So you should receive that letter by August 15th that details out what you've contributed, the total amounts, our calculations, and how much the check will be that will be written to the local charity if you have designated one. So you have until August 31st to let us know at the Crown Council if there are any changes to those amounts, if there's any miscalculation or any figures you have that differ from what we have at the Crown Council. And then those checks to your local charity will be written and sent out the first week of September. So you should have your local charity check by the end of the second week of September is a realistic expectation. So you can plan to do some Smiles for Life activity in the month of September. Identify the local charity that you're going to give to for next year's campaign. Go ahead and meet with them, as well as schedule the delivery of the check for this year's campaign. Getting that scheduled now is a great time to do it. Speaking of smiles, one other idea for the month of September is I know that most are in the habit of asking for referrals. And in the month of September, you might consider doing a special promotion, varying the offer a little bit, and offering to your existing patients when they come in and you ask them for referrals is to give them a referral card that would give whoever they refer a complimentary oral cancer exam, $100 toward any needed treatment, or a percentage off any treatment. You can decide what the offer is. But to up your activity in your area of asking for referrals. our typical prescription is that at a minimum, to keep it manageable, you ought to be asking at least 2 patients a day to refer. Now, you can ask all of them, but at least two a day, as well as asking for 2 reviews every day. So month of September, sweeten the pot a little bit, make it easier, add some more things to the equation to make it easier for patients to refer others to your practice. Next, in the month of September, here's some social media ideas from our resource partners at My Social Practice. So here's a couple of things that you might consider to kind of mix it up and get some activity going in the month of September. So My Social Practice has 2 special social media promotions for the month of September. One is around something that's trending large around the entire world, around Pokemon Go, and so you can have an in-practice challenge where they take a screenshot of their favorite Pokemon Go find, and then they can post that on their social media. So that's one idea for My Social Practice. The other is the Zero Cavity campaign, where everyone in the practice, everyone that comes in during the month of September, and your entire patient base can participate in the Zero Cavity campaign. They're pledged to be cavity-free and participate that. So here's how it works, is they can, if they're cavity-free, they can enter the contest for the prize of your choice, whatever you decide to give away. You might give away an Amazon gift card or just a gift card in general. So they enter the contest. They post their picture with your social media sign on their own social media, and then they enter the contest. So here's the specific details on both of those campaigns from My Social Practice. You can go to those URLs that are on the screen to get more information. The Pokemon Go practice, in practice promotion, just for patient involvement, all of those downloads, you can go to that downloads, that URL. All the downloads are free for that campaign. The Zero Cavity campaign, the My Social Practice team has made a special deal for our Crown Council members, so you can go to that URL and order those materials. There's also a great video at that URL that explains the entire No Cavity campaign. So those, I hope, get your thinking elevated to a higher level of things that you can do today to have the best month ever in September. The webinars and the Crown Council Mentor of the Month programs that I've mentioned today, again, you can get those at crowncouncil.org. The forms, the morning opportunity meeting, the outbound call tracker, if those are resources that you're interested in, feel free to contact us at the Total Patient Service Institute at either the toll-free number or the email address there. Happy to share those with you as well. So, my challenge to you again, make the worst month ever the best month ever. Your first action item is to go back to your team, have an idea factory session with the challenge to take a typical rhythm of the industry and turn it into one of the best months you've ever had. Come up with as many ideas as you can, similar to the ones we've talked about today, and rededicate your efforts not to go with the flow, but to make it an amazing month coming ahead. So hope those have provided some great ideas for you. You'll come up with some that are better than these. And so we hope you do that and share those online on the Crown Council email network. So thanks for joining us today for our Crown Council webinar, From Worst to Best. Good luck in your efforts to make September the best month ever. Look forward to being with you on our next Crown Council webinar. Have a great day.